For this lesson, you will need to have Tableau installed on your computers. Refer to the syllabus for the link to download Tableau Pro. With your .edu email address, you will be able to get 1 year of free Tableau Pro license. Tableau is a large program and requires about 2 gigabytes of free space on your computer for installation. I'm assuming that you now have Tableau installed. Click on Tableau icon to launch it. After launching, you will see this window. On the left, you will see several alternative ways in which you can connect data to Tableau. Typically, for the purpose of this course, our data will be in Excel or in text format. However, for professional work, your data sets may be really large and you won't be able to store them in simple Excel files. In those cases, your files will be most likely on servers in databases provided by vendors like Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, etc. Tableau can seamlessly connect to a number of databases. For this lesson, we will use a simulated dataset called Sample Superstore. This dataset consists of various metrics related to sales of office supplies. Please see the notes for the link to download the Excel file on your computer and make sure that you know exactly where you saved this file. Click on Microsoft Excel tab. Navigate to the folder where you saved the file and select samplesuperstore.xls. Once you open this file, various worksheets in this file will start showing up on the left side of the window. For this exercise, we will use Orders worksheet. Double-click on Orders tab to display your dataset. If you want, you can browse through the data very easily in this view. We will not do any complex operation on this dataset. However, Tableau is quite capable of merging and manipulating multiple files in a very simple manner. On top right, you will see a choice between live connection and extract. Live connection means that if the original data changes, your Tableau file will also change. In that sense, a live connection creates a dynamic copy of your data. On the other hand, extract connection creates a static copy of your data. So if the original data changes, it has no effect on the dataset that is loaded in Tableau. Next, click on Sheet 1 from the bottom left corner. Let's understand the terminology Tableau uses. We will learn each term here in detail. First, we see a Data tab on top left corner, which shows us the data set that is currently loaded in Tableau. Next, we have a large list of various variables entitled tables. These variables are grouped into 2 categories. In older versions of Tableau, they were specifically labeled as dimensions and measures. The variables that appear with blue icons are called as dimensions, and the variables that appear with green icons are called measures. At first glance, it might appear that dimensions are categorical variables and measures are continuous variables, but that may not be true in all the cases. For example, order date appears in dimensions is not a categorical variable. However, typically dimensions are discrete in nature, while measures are continuous in nature. In measures, you have a few variables that are shown in italics. For example, the bottom 4 variables, latitude, longitude, orders, measure values, are all shown in italics. These variables are identified separately because Tableau generated these variables from our dataset. They are absent in the original dataset. This is an interesting aspect of Tableau. In particular, Tableau generates latitude and longitudes for locations based on minimal information. For example, in our dataset, we have information on city, state, country. We also have information on postal code. However, if you have to make a map using this information in any software that can create such a map, you will have to provide latitude and longitude explicitly. Tableau, on the other hand, does not require you to explicitly provide these latitudes and longitudes. Tableau has an inbuilt mapping from various locations to their latitude and longitudes. This will come in handy when we create map based on this information. Next, we will look at some other controls. On top left, you will see a shelf called Pages. This allows you to create visualizations with a sense of progress. For instance, imagine you want to see how sales have changed over a 5-year period, and you want to visualize the transition from one year to the next year. Pages shelf will help you create that visualization. However, this is not a commonly used control. The next shelf, titled Filters, is something that is very commonly used. Filters shelf will allow you to specify certain conditions on which to filter this dataset. For example, our data may have information on product sales in various cities. However, we may want to visualize the sales only for one city. In that case, rather than deleting the observations from the data permanently, we can create a filter that allows the users to select whichever city they want to visualize the data for. We will learn more about this in an example soon. Next, we see the Marks shelf. There are several other cards: color, size, text, detail, and tooltip in this shelf. I think that it would be better to explain these using an example soon. Next, we have two shelves on top called columns and rows. In a typical graph, we usually have an x-axis and a y-axis. Tableau does not use this terminology. Typically, the variables we want to plot on the x-axis are assigned to the columns shelf, and the variables that we want to plot on the y-axis are assigned to the rows shelves. Finally, there is a big empty area where we will have our plot. This plot may have several different formats. If you do not know which type of plot you want to make, Tableau intelligently selects a plot that suits well to those variables. If you want to change the plot recommended by Tableau, you can click on Show Me tab in top right corner.